Once she stopped looking at the bowl of booger sugar, she looked over there to the bed where Big John was. She said he was laying on the bed with what looked like a Louisville slugger in his lap. But it wasn't a baseball bat. It was his function. Natalie Cole, like, oh my God, I can't get over there. Girl, you better go over there and handle that situation. I can't get over there. Go, girl, go. I'll be over here with the booger sugar. Oh, my life, my be waiting for you. Look how you do. I was in the bathroom, and before I knew it, I had collapsed under the sink. By the grace of God, that didn't happen. Tim and his wife intervened by injecting me with salt and water. They saved my life. They may have been unlikely angels, but they were angels just the same. Tiny Tim was just one of a collection of new pals. I no longer saw any of my old friends from UMass. Another was a hooker named Peaches, who had been a heroin addict for years. She was known all over Springfield, and Lord only knows why she took a liking to me. Because you're new vagina. You're just new pussy. You're something else to sell. She was also a booster. Okay. That it's like when you're a prostitute, it's like a dual job. Sell pussy, steal stuff. When you ain't stealing stuff, you selling pussy. When you ain't selling pussy, you're stealing stuff, right? But she took a liking to you because you're the daughter of Nat King Cole. Do you know how much money that vagina is worth, girl? Of course I'm gonna be your friend. Peaches was an expert booster. She was the kind of woman who could walk out of the A&P with an Easter ham wedged between her thighs. Peaches took it upon herself to instruct me in the fine art of extricating welfare checks out of folks' mailboxes. Oh, this bitch was terrible. Peaches had her committing fraud, writing checks. God damn, all the while. It's just so hard to believe that Nat King Cole's daughter is doing all this. I feel bad for that Blue Ivy. On one hand, I believe Beyonce is setting her on a path for something great. But I believe by the time she's 16, she's gonna have some Jay-Z-esque type boyfriend that's almost 30. Two brothers I knew got some checks, stock imprinted with the names of corporations, and I started making up phony checks in relatively small amounts. 300, 600, 1,000 at the most, chump change, really. They even gave me one of those special typewriters, a paymaster that print out the amount in tiny colored dots like on dividend checks from General Motors. It was as if I turned into another person. And for a time I did. I started calling myself Lee Cole. That bitch is out of whack. She out of whack. The most critical thing to keep in mind is that all this was done in desperation to support a drug habit. The lengths I went to were questionably suicidal and insane. Amazingly enough, I was still making it work. That's the insidious thing about heroin. You can still work on the Jesus. On the Jesus. As long as you got it, everything is good. The problem comes when you don't got it. My first truly prestigious gig was a very trendy nightclub called Shapir's in the Drake Hotel in Manhattan. Valerie Simpson of Ashford and Simpson had a brother who was the sound man up there. Kevin was angling hard to get me a record deal, and this was a place where a singer could really get noticed by people in the business. We know Kevin is her manager. I was up there at the microphone on the small stage as Shepard singing Roberta Flack's killing me softly. He was drumming my pain with his fingers, killing me softly with his dot 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 thud. Miss Cole, are you all right, Miss Cole? In my junkie stupor, I dimly perceived that someone was talking to me, but he sounded like he was talking to me from a big black hole. Miss Cole, can you hear me? I have called security to have you removed from the premises. I had nodded into the microphone right in the middle of the performance. This was the fourth night of a 2-week engagement. Heroin was killing me softly. All right. And Shepherds fired me on the spot. Even though I was still living in Massachusetts, a lot of my gigs by now were in New York, and I was traveling I-91 with great frequency between Springfield and Manhattan. One night I was in New York and I needed to get back to Springfield, but the car was out of gas and I was out of stuff, smack, antifreeze, Aries, Aunt Hazel, Carnicheva, Golden Girl, Hard Candy, Horse, number 8, Red Eagle Wings. The drug world had 1,000 names for heroin back in that era. No matter what you called it, I didn't have any. I was faced with a nasty dilemma. I had to decide if I was going to get gas or dope. Now keep in mind, she's with her sister Cookie. Cookie then moved on with her life. She been left because she was tired of Maria ass. I don't know that for sure, but she found her own life, her own path, and she went there. So she's staying with Cookie. Natalie Cole is at the gas station calling Cookie. Cookie, I need some money. Bitch, ain't no cash app in, what is this, 1973? Jonesing and desperate that night in the gas station, I tried to hit her up for $20 and she told me she didn't have it. I knew she was lying. $20 friggin' dollars. I was good and pissed and sick as a dog. I gassed up, got behind the wheel, and started driving. Somehow I got home, but not without throwing up out the car window. Withdrawal from heroin, there's nothing like it. There's a part of you that just breaks when you come through it. Depending on how full of heroin you are, it takes anywhere from overnight to a couple of days to get it out of your system. And it's horrible. You throw up, you sleep, you sweat, you throw up, you sleep. But awake or asleep, you're delirious, you're cold, and some folks even start hallucinating. It's like a really bad flu. And if you get through it without killing yourself or somebody else, it's no small miracle. It was as if I'd just taken a beating. So anyway, through her shenanigans, she meets this guy named Big Al. He's a hard-ass police officer, okay? And she got herself into some trouble. If you want to know what it was, you get the goddamn book and you read it to yourself. Okay? But Big Al got her together. He didn't arrest her, but he did fingerprint her and sit me down in his office to have a little chat. Basically, he did that to scare the shit out of me, and his technique worked. The next day, I packed everything I owned into my yellow Cougar, and I left for New York. I met a guy named Ronnie who was a pimp and wanted to help me supplement my income. Ronnie couldn't have been more than 19 or 21. I agreed to work for him. I was hired as the come on girl, the cutie pie, who would pique the attention of potential Johns. And what I discovered was how many kinds of men seek out women in this profession. All were middle or upper class. There were no cabbies or bus drivers. Bullshit the baker. I don't know. Maybe the dude Ronnie has an escort service. Because when I be looking at the streets of Detroit and the videos they're recording all the women over there on Figueroa, oh, it be all kinds of dirty, filthy, stinking men pulling up to them, just asking them for directions. They're like sleazy. Not all of them are sleazy, but yeah, it be some sleazy men there. But you know, escorts are different from hoes, from streetwalkers. Okay, it's like foot stompers. Like Martina, my favorite happy hoe, is both. She says she used to be a street stomper, and she was an escort. Like now, I think she just runs an escort service. But them ones that were on the street, you don't have to. You can't say what you will and won't do. In a pimp's mind, that's $20. Go get that $20 or $40. However much women sell vagina for. I froze my ass off out there in Harlem, USA, in the winter of 1973, as I was acquiring this deep psychological insight. As the lure, I shared space on the street corners with the homeless and other souls fallen from grace. Once I'd made contact and Ronnie had concluded the financial transaction, the real business would happen under the bridge without me. The life, the danger, the absolute insidiousness of it all at that particular level is pathetic. We're not talking about being a professional call girl where you go to put on some pretty clothes, hang out at a bar, and get paid to show well-heeled conventioneers a good time. We're talking about street hookers and what they have to do. One day, I was out there stopping traffic with one of Ronnie's more experienced girls, a veteran named Denise. Ronnie came up to the two of us and said, "Ladies, I have a special assignment. There's $200 in cash and a whole lot of booger sugar if you'll go and do Big Johnny." Denise was interested in the money. The booger sugar was just a fringe benefit. For me, the cash wasn't nearly as important as the cocaine. So the two of us struck a bargain. We'd go together. She'd take the cash and do Big John. I'd be the chaperone and get the booger sugar. The two of us walked into this funky brownstone. It wasn't much warmer inside than it was out of doors, and climbed the stairs. Sound like an abandoned building to me. Okay. I don't know. You bitches like to live dangerously. That ain't my life. I ain't going in there. Pass, pass, pass. And we entered the darkened apartment. I felt like I'd walked into a Fellini movie. One of y'all below, please tell me what the hell a Fellini movie is. The first thing I saw was an old man, half asleep, sitting on a chair in the corner. He was wearing a filthy old t-shirt and he didn't move when he saw us. That's because his ass was probably nodding. Okay, girl, don't disturb my high. I don't even know if he was alive. Come to think of it, I guess he was supposed to be the one-man audience for the little show. The next thing I noticed was the biggest bowl of booger sugar I'd ever seen in my life. This is going to work out just fine, I thought to myself. The mind of a junkie, I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, once she stopped looking at the bowl of booger sugar, she looked over there to the bed where Big John was, okay? She said he was laying on the bed with what looked like a Louisville Slugger in his lap, okay? But it wasn't a baseball bat. It was his function. Natalie Cole like, oh my God, I can't get over there. Girl, you better go over there and handle that situation. I can't get over there. Go, girl, go. I'll be over here with the booger sugar. At that moment, I can only imagine that I looked a lot like Buckwheat from our gang, totally freaked out. I know that every hair on my head stood up. I looked at Denise and she looked at me, and our instincts for self-preservation kicked in at that point. We both started backing out the door simultaneously. I never ran backwards so fast in my life. No cash, no cocaine, no sale. Okay? Because the pimp tried to set you up with the horsey. Okay? You ain't in the bestiality. That encounter with Big John shocked me out of the life. The thought of what might have gone down in that brownstone was enough to make me get my head straight and refocus on my career. Yeah, so selling pussy wasn't Natalie Cole's forte.